back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and this is my round 3 NRL tips for 2023. And yeah, it's a very special round actually, and it's a great initiative that the game's brought in ever since last year, and that is it's multicultural round. And multicultural round obviously shows and showcases pretty much every culture that's amongst the game. Players have different backgrounds, nationalities, and I think it's a great round just to come together and respect, what background we represent. So I think it's a perfect round, and a round that should be always a regular thing, like not just for the 1 year or 2 years. I think multicultural round is a round that should be always sticking strong for many years to come, in my opinion. But yeah, I like the concept this week. But yeah, look, round 3 should be massive. The games this week should be really good. After seeing how teams like Dolphins and Broncos have gone the last couple of weeks, do they back up the same form this week in week 3? Who knows? Do Manly come to 4 Pines Park on Thursday night against the Eels, which I'll be at? I'll be at that game between Manly and Eels. Do they come back from the bye a better team? Like, we'll see how they go. So, a lot of questions to be asked, but other than that, it's going to be a great round, and I think we all know that. Now, I just want to say, again, thank you to those who have recently subscribed to the YouTube channel. Got to 3K subscribers on Sunday, so that was awesome to get to 3K. That was the aim to get there, and I got there quicker than expected. So I do appreciate those new subscribers and new viewers to my YouTube channel. It goes to show that your support does not go unhidden, because I see it and I appreciate it a lot. So if you are new watching the channel right now, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But without further ado, it's a big round coming up, so let's get into it. My first tip of the game between Manly and the Eels. So yeah, on to the first game. Obviously big rivals, and it's a very interesting game, because I think with the Eels coming off back-to-back losses to start the year, I do think that they'll find a bit of desperate need of a win, and I find that I guess that sort of push and drive to get the win this week over Manly. But it's a tough task, because the way we've been playing, it's been really good, and it's been a fantastic, fresh sort of brand of footy we're playing. So definitely enjoying that as a fan of the club, and I'm definitely enjoying what I'm seeing from the club this year. But to go through both sides, for Manly, Josh Schuster is back this week from a calf injury, so it's going to be great to see how Schuster goes at 5'8" in his first NRL game. Well, not first NRL game playing there, but just his first full season at 5'8", and this is game 1, so we'll see how he goes against the Eels, which are a good test actually. So he's at 5'8", and Cooper Johns goes back to reserves, and that's the only change for us. For the Eels, Mike Acevo was charged with dangerous contact in round 2, but is free to play. And it seems like Brad Arthur has sticked with the same squad, so Ryan Madison's 1 week away from completing his suspension. Okay, well, my tip for this game, I'm going to go with Manly, and I don't want to sound too confident about it, because I do think that Parramatta will give us a fight. I know a lot of people are saying that Manly will do what they did against the Dogs to the Eels, which I like to see, but I think Parramatta will be desperate. I mean, they should be. They should be desperate, and I'm predicting it to happen. So I definitely believe they'll be competitive. I'll tip us by 6 points, but I do think Eels will give us a real fight. So got to be ready for it. And my first try scorer, I'm going to back Ruben Garrick, first try scorer. Okay, on to the first game on the Friday. It is Knights taking on the Dolphins, and this game is being played at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. Obviously, it's the first home game of the year for the Knights at home, so I think they'll like to put in a good performance for their fans and their loyal fan base that always turns up to their games. As we know, they're a very loyal fan base, the Newcastle Knights ones. And for the Dolphins, they've been great, and they've been in really good form, and that's credit to how, I guess, Wayne has prepared this side for the new season. So it's a real credit on his behalf. So I'm very interested to see how this team does go against the Knights at home, because I think it's the first time Dolphins are really travelling outside of Queensland. So it's a challenge, but a good challenge for them to see where they're really at. Going through both sides, so for the Knights, it seems like Callum Ponga and Jalen Brayley are out due to the concussion for both of them. And Tyson Frizzle ankle, Jacob Saifiti suspension are all sidelined. Tyson Gamble starts at 5'8", Phoenix Crossan goes to hooker, Jack Hetherington will start at prop, and Brody Jones comes into the starting side. And Ryan Rivett and Dylan Lucas make their NRL debuts, which is good to see. And Matt Croker, in his return from suspension, will play on the bench as well. And Adam Elliott, groin, and Kurt Mann, calf, are expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Interesting. For the Dolphins, Cody Nikorima will play his first game for the Dolphins this week, so it's good to see Nikorima get his first official game for the Dolphins. So he'll start hooker with Marshall King suspended. He will miss 2 games for it. And Ray Stone has been named to return from a knee injury he suffered in round 1. So yeah, that's both teams there. Who am I tipping? You know, I'll be honest, I was very tempted to tip the Knights at home. I really thought that maybe at home, you know, it might be a bit tough for the Dolphins to travel to Newcastle and play there. Like, I don't know. And it's such a short turnaround for Newcastle as well. Like, obviously, it's a short turnaround type game. And, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit tough, I think, for them, playing a Dolphins side that's in form. And with all the injuries they have out and the players they have out, go tip the Dolphins here. I think I'll tip Dolphins here by about 10. And I'll go first try scorer Felice Kafusi in the back row. But I give Knights a slim chance, believe it or not. Now, the main game on the Friday, it's the big one. It's the one that everyone should be looking forward to on this, hopefully, a very hyped up game that lives up to its hype. And it usually does. And I'm looking forward to it myself as well. It is the Roosters taking on the Rabbitohs at Allianz Stadium on the main game on the Friday. Cannot wait. This is going to be massive. I think the fireworks will be out for this one. So I really am keen to see how this game does go. But getting through both sides, obviously. The Roosters have a couple of players back with Jared Warrior-Hargreaves back, and same with Victor Rayleigh, both returning, which is big news for the Roosters. Brandon Smith has had scans on his rib cage, and is cleared to play. And Fletcher Baker drops back to the bench, and now Fahu White to 18th man. And yeah, pretty much the same team as last week, nearly. For the Rabbitohs, Tavita Totola is back after missing round 2 with a head knock, while bench foot Hame Sele returns from a calf injury, and Daniel Sluka Fafita drops to reserves, and Davey Moala gets promoted to the bench. Wow, this is tough. No, this is a very tough game. I mean, I was very sold on Rabbitohs all week. Like last week, I was very sold on them because I thought that, you know, as of how they're playing a lot better than the Roosters are. But I think with Hargreaves and Victor Radley back, it's very timely for a game like this. It's very timely. Man, it's tough. It's very tough. It's very hard to pick this one because I believe either side could win it for sure. I don't know. It's very, very hard. I'm going to tip the Roosters. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to tip the Roosters here. I just think that maybe at home, I can see Rabbitohs just getting out, but I think with the Roosters, I think with Radley and Hargreaves back, and I think just with Smith and Radley in the middle, you know, that combination will get better, I reckon, by the season goes. I reckon the Roosters will win this one. I know Souths always defeat Roosters in the rivalry. Basically, the Rabbitohs have had the wood over the Roosters the past couple of games, but I just have a feeling that the Roosters will get up for this one. I have a feeling that the Roosters will win this one, and they'll win only by 4 points. But my first try scorer will be Alex Johnston. On to the main game on the Saturday now, the first one out of 3. It is the Titans taking on the Storm at Seabus Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. And looking through both sides, just quickly, Storm have a lot of players back in. It's a real shock. I'll go through it in a second, but yeah, they've got a lot of troops back, it seems, this week. I know, look, no Pappenhausen or Munster yet, but, you know, they seem to have a few players returning, so that's good for them. But going through both sides now, for the Titans, Brian Kelly returns after serving a 4-game ban for a dangerous throw against the Knights in round 24 last year. So he's back in the centres, and Philip Sammy shifts to the wing, and Jojo Fafita drops out. Sam Verrill's shoulder is out, replaced by Chris Randall. The new faces on the bench, Joseph Vuna, who plays first game since 2021, and Isaac for Asul Malawi. Oh wow, he's making his NRL debut. Well, that's crazy, because that's really good to see him make his debut. Isaac for Asul Malawi. That's Tino's brother making his debut. So that's awesome. I'm keen to see how he goes. For the Storm, Justin Olam is back this week, and that's a massive win, because Olam was not expected to return this early, but he's back, and that's a big win for the Melbourne Storm. Xavier Coates shoulder and Tui Kamekamaker foot and interchange forward. Tarek Sims are also back as well. And Jonah Pezzett, who's a young 5'8" for the Storm, will make his NRL debut off the bench, so keen to see how he's used. And obviously Nelson's out for a long time with a knee injury. Who am I tipping? I have a feeling Titans will turn up. I have a feeling Titans will go close, because I don't know if I trust Storm. Titans have been competitive, I think, during the trials and round one. Apart from last week, they've been pretty competitive, the Titans, I reckon. But I think I got to trust them, and I do trust them, and I think I'll tip the Storm here. I just think Storm might have a bit too much quality for the Titans, and I think Titans are a good chance at home for their first game of the year, but I just think that Hughes should be enough, and Grant, and I think they won't want to embarrass themselves 2 weeks in a row. I mean, Bellamy won't tolerate what happened against the Bulldogs coming into this game, so I expect a big turnaround by the Storm. So I'll go Storm here by 12, and my first try scorer will be Xavier Coates in his return. Okay, on to the next game now. It is the Cowboys taking on the Warriors in Townsville, and obviously both sides have come off losses in round 2, so to see how they go this week will be very interesting, I think. So let's see which side gets the bounce back win this week, eh? But looking at how Cowboys and Warriors both line up, for the Cowboys, Tom Chester comes in at fullback for his second NRL game in place of Scott Drinkwater, who's obviously suspended for 3 games. And for Peter Hiku's suspension, and who replaces him, is Jahamet Shibasaki in the centres. And for the Warriors, with Charles and Kluxted out this week, on debut is Tane Tuapiki. And I like Tane Tuapiki. I think he's a good young kid. And obviously in trial matches and stuff, he's already proven that he's got a bit of potential. So, yeah, hopefully he has a good game, Tuapiki. And Jackson Ford will also miss this game due to copying a head knock last week. Afoa moves into the starting side. Bailey Sirenan joins the bench. And Josh Curran, hit points, has been named to play, but Jazz Tavaga's on standby in reserves. So, yeah, bit of changes for both sides this week. But who am I tipping? I trust the Cowboys in Townsville. I mean, Warriors will definitely go ahead and challenge the Cowboys, I reckon. And this is a 1-12 game, in my opinion. Like, not 13 plus and not this big runaway win type game. I do think the Cowboys will be challenged by the Warriors, but I think just at home that helps Cowboys with the win, and especially the weather in Townsville. So I'll go Cowboys here by 8 only, and my first try scorer for the Cowboys will be I'm gonna go Valentine Holmes, in the centres for first try. On to the next game now. It is the Broncos taking on the Dragons at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. And obviously this game is a game featuring 2 undefeated clubs so far for 2023. I know Dragons have only had the bye so far, which helps. But I think, if they can play like how they did against the Titans, I think they can push Broncos this week at home. And as for Broncos, they've just they've been just as much as impressive than what the Dragons have been, because they've proven that they can beat bigger sides. So, it's been a good start by the Broncos, and I think Dragons will take a lot of confidence out of that win against the Titans on Sunday there. But looking at how both sides are lined up, for the Broncos, it seems like Kevin Walters has named the same side apart from Corey Oates, who's obviously out with a broken jaw. Will get replaced by Jesse Arthurs on the wing. And for the Dragons, Coach Anthony Griffin has named the same 17. Toby Couchman has been named, but just pending on his concussion protocols, may not play. But Aaron Woods is standby there with Amon in the reserves. My tip for this game, it'll be a good game if both teams turn up, but I'm going to tip the Broncos here at home. I think I trust the Broncos just as much at home than what I do with the Dragons in general, just for both clubs, how I rate them. And I think Broncos will continue their good form at Suncorp. So I'll go the Broncos here by 16. And I think first try scorer, I'm going to back in Herbie Farnworth. Okay, on to Sunday footy now. It is the Bulldogs take on the Tigers back at Belmore. So the beautiful and prestigious Belmore Sports Ground is back in action this week when the Bulldogs do play there against the Tigers. And both teams obviously have been a little bit average to start the year, apart from last week for the Bulldogs, obviously defeating Melbourne. But with the Tigers, look, I don't know. They've been really, really shocking as of late, and I think that doesn't improve anytime soon. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it's good to see a game back at Belmore. Going through the teams now for both sides. So it looks like the Bulldogs have stuck solid with that same team they had against the Storm. Pango Jr. is likely to be another week away, and Josh Reynolds has recovered from a groin injury, and he's in reserves with Carl Aloapu in the reserves as well. For the Tigers, Charlie Staines has been moved to fullback this week, with Dane Laurie sidelined due to a knee injury. Junior Tupou is a new winger this week, which I think is a good idea to bring Tupou into that side. And Tommy Salau's out with concussion, so he's replaced by Stafford Toa in the centres. In the forwards, Sean Bloor returns from a concussion, and Fanua Pole is back from a knee injury, with Joe Offengal going to the bench. And Alex Seyfarth to the reserves. Isaiah Papali'i is out with suspension, so bench hooker Jake Simpkins out as well, and is replaced by Brandon Wakeham as a jersey 14. And John Bateman is listed among the reserves. So if he does play, it remains to be seen. But yeah, we'll see if Bateman comes in late. But my tip for this game, look, I can't go past the Bulldogs at Belmore. I just think that it'll be a sold-out crowd in my opinion, depending on the weather for Sydney this week, obviously. But look, it's obviously a Sunday afternoon at Belmore. Doesn't get any better than that. And I think the Dogs will like to play well for their fans, and the local fans are there as well. So I believe they'll win here and get back-to-back wins. I'll say Dogs by 14. I think they'll have a nice, not a big 13+ win, but just a small and good 13+ win. And I'll go first try scorer. You know what? I'll go Paul Alamotti for first try scorer. I think he's ready for a try. And then wrapping up the final game for round 3, it is the Raiders taking on the Sharks at GIO Stadium in Canberra. And yeah, Raiders are back at home this week. Look, I think after back-to-back losses, they haven't been bad losses. They've been really close losses, actually. I think the build-up to how they want to get a win will be very high this week. I think they'll like to get a win here at home. And for the Sharks, I think they've been in good form too. Lost round 1, but bounced back against Parramatta in round 2 and beat them at comeback without Hines, which is a fantastic effort. And I tipped them to win that game as well, so that's that's good. We'll see if they can back that form up. Looking at both sides, Josh Papali'i remains sidelined with a calf injury, so Ricky Stewart's starting 13's unchanged. Trey Mooney is the new man on the bench in place of Ata Mariota. And for the Sharks, Nico Hines remains sidelined with a calf injury, but Jack Williams is back in the 17 after recovering from a head knock. And Williams' return sees Connor Tracy's shift to 18th man. A tough game this one, I reckon. This is very tough. Round 3, Raiders v Sharks at GIO, 6:15 p.m. on a Sunday. I am going to tip the Raiders to bounce back and get their first win of the year. I think Canberra will be back at home, obviously, and I think they'll beat the Sharks at home. I just don't know if the Sharks can beat both Eels and the Raiders 2 weeks in a row without Hines. I mean, it's possible, but I think Canberra are always a tough team to face at home. So I think Canberra will win here by 6. And I think the Raiders will score first try through Jack White at 5'8". So I've got the Raiders here by 6. So going for my final tips for the weekend. Thursday night, Manly Eels got Manly by 6. Friday, between Knights and the Dolphins, the first game, got Dolphins by 10. The main game the Friday, Roosters and Rabbitohs, got the Roosters here by 2. And for the Super Saturday game, the first one, Titans and the Storm, got the Storm here winning by 12. And as for the second game of Super Saturday, the Warriors and the Cowboys, got the Warriors here by 2. And then the last game was Super Saturday, Broncos and the Dragons. I got the Broncos here by 16. And as for Sunday's matches, Bulldogs Tigers at Belmore. Got the Dogs here by 14. And the last game, Raiders and Sharks at GIO. I've got the Raiders here by 6. But everyone, that is my round 3 NRL tips for 2023. Thank you for watching. Please do let me know your tips in the comment section down below on who you're backing this weekend. Would really like to see who everyone is backing this week in round 3. But everyone, until then, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more good content coming up this week, because I've got a couple of videos in mind this week, so stay tuned. But until then, like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and see you all the next one.